Welcome. This is the Distributed Systems WeShare presentation for Seta. My name is Stephen Jason.
My name is Anemieke van Vieren.
My name is Danielle Khadebe.
And my name is Nozuko.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. So I'm going to be taking us through section A, titled Research and Data Analysis, where I'm going to give you a walkthrough of our research process, all the tools that we used, and how we came to the conclusion of the WeShare program. Next slide. Okay, section A, what the project was about and the steps taken to succeed. So WeShare is a web-based application that we had to build. It used multiple tools, a lot of them we were very new to, so research was an absolute necessity in this case. The tools used in development themselves were HTML and CSS for the structure and the styling. We used Figma for the designing and the layout of the program itself. For documentation and collaboration, we used Google Docs, Microsoft Word. We used the We Think Code curriculum to understand the exact requirements. We used Git and version control system in order to collaborate on the project, so everyone could have access, everyone could push and pull, and we could all work together effectively to get this project to where it was in the end. Next slide. Okay, planning and documentation. So the research timeline, the project took 6 weeks in total, and we developed iteratively, where each iteration was 2 weeks long. So we had a total of 3 iterations. A chunk of the research was done in the beginning before the project actually started, when we were given our requirements, when we were told what the project needs to do, and then research done again at the beginning of every iteration as soon as more requirements were given and as soon as more resources were introduced that we had to learn about and actually implement in the project itself. The online resources that we did use were W3 Schools for tutorials and basic beginner or web development concepts that we didn't necessarily understand. We used the Rethink Code curriculum in order to give us information. It taught us a lot of stuff about what we're supposed to be using. And then we used TimeLeaf.org document tutorials to understand how TimeLeaf worked, because it played a very big role in the web development project that we did. Next slide. Okay, using the internet for research and validating the research. So the internet has a lot of information that we could have possibly used, but it's always about finding the right information to use, making sure that the information that we're getting is accurate and it is also relevant to the project that we had to do. So we had to find ways to validate this research and make sure that it was actually the research that we needed through the following ways. So our conclusions are backed by our research done across reliable resources and ensuring a well-rounded understanding of the topic itself. We cross-validated and peer-reviewed and analyzed our findings together as a group to ensure the accuracy and reliability of said research. Practical testing and validation in the project confirmed the applicability of the research itself, and then documentation of research methods and sources promoted transparency and allowed us to further validate the conclusions we came from, all the research that we did and all the resources that we used. Next slide. Okay, presenting research and using computer applications. So once the research section was done, we had to be able to present this research. We also had to use the research to kind of construct how our project was going to work and find ways to use all the resources that we found in our project to get it to its completed state. The 2 planning and design apps that we used were Canva for the planning and the presentation itself, and then designing the layout and the application to present the functionality, we used Figma. And the reason why we used these are as follows. So we used Canva and Figma to create our presentation using their user-friendly interfaces and collaborative features, because this was a group project. Canva's extensive library of templates and graphics allowed us to design visually appealing slides quickly and very easily. And then Figma's real-time collaboration capabilities helped seamless teamwork, enabling us to work together on the presentation regardless of our physical location all the time. And then the cloud-based nature of both applications ensured that our presentation was accessible from anywhere, making sure that we were able to be flexible, that we were all developing comfortably, and that we could all collaborate effectively. Next slide. Okay. researching website development tools. So the main tools that we used to complete this application was Visual Studio Code for the development itself, obviously localhost for the hosting of the application, and then GitLab for the storage of the files and the collaborating. The reason why we chose to use Visual Studio Code was because of the extensive and useful features it gives for development, especially in the web development realm. And the two main ones I wanted to highlight that we used are Prettier. Prettier is great for formatting code, and then the live server is also great for being able to serve our web-based applications nicely, and we can be able to see what the code is doing and the product of the code on a separate screen, making it easier to develop. And then GitLab is one of the best remote collaboration tools to use, and it's where we stored all of our code, made it easier for collaborating using the boards, etc. Next slide. Okay, web development tools used in the creation of the application itself were the WeShare project is made up primarily of HTML, CSS, Timeleaf, and Java. HTML for the structure, CSS for the styling, Timeleaf for the organization of everything, and then Java for the functionality aspect of it all. Next slide. Okay, research and data analysis. So with regards to data accumulation, all the information that we received about the requirements for the Reshare project were from the curriculum themselves. They gave us in-depth diagrams of how the program was supposed to fit in and work together and work functionally. We also were provided with the WeShare user journeys PDF that gave us another in-depth detail description of what the single page web application was supposed to look like, and if you clicked on a certain button, exactly where it was supposed to take you. So that was the main resource that we used for research and data analysis and actually developing the program and getting it to where it is functionally. Next slide. Okay, now I'm going to pass on to the next person for the cost-benefit analysis. We're good.
Okay, so I'll be doing section B, cost and benefit analysis. On our cost side, we have development costs, which has labor, paying developers and team members for their time and expertise, maintenance cost, bug fixes and updates, time and effort spent on resolving software issues and implementing updates, operational cost, utilities, expenses for essential services like electricity, water, and internet. On our benefits side, we have revenue generation, product sales, making money by selling the products, cost savings for users, cost savings for users, re- reduce maintenance cost, spending less on repairs or replacements by using higher quality products, competitive advantage, unique offerings, stand out with distinctive features of value proposition. Next slide, please. Okay, so our cost estimates for an element of work. Some of our main costs are server-side development written in Java, which we are going to be writing from scratch, would cost around 6,000 Rand. Front end development, which has HTML and CSS, around 4,000 Rand. Testing, which we use Javelin, Timeleaf, and Selenium, is around 3,000 Rand. Hosting per month is 300 Rand. Database usage per month is 350. Cost estimates. Cost estimates. Total development cost is around 13,650. Interface implementation and testing 1,500. Potential escalating cost is 2,000 Rand for additional cost for extra resources. Next slide, please. Time estimate for an element of work. For the server side, we're gonna need 5 weeks. Front end development, we're gonna need 2 weeks. For testing the code, we're gonna need 1 week. Interface implementation, we're gonna need 1 week. Next slide, please. Effects of late delivery for an element of work. Delay of server side. If there is a delay in the server side, then the team will not be able to continue with front end development and testing because of breaks and steps. Overall delay. Being delayed at all will result in the whole of WeShare not being finished. So I'm going to hand it over to the next person. Thank you.
I will be taking us through the WeShare demo. So I will be demonstrating the WeShare SPA single page application project. This web app uses timely templating to create a single page with multiple views that are changed dynamically when the user interacts with the page. The features were built with ease of use in mind for the end user to be able to track expenses, send payment requests on expenses to other users, and make payments to other users in real time as we are using a real-time database. The first screen that you can see here is the login screen. If a user is not already on the system, the first time that they enter their email, they will be added to the system. You can see here that we've logged in, and this user is a new user as they don't have any expenses. Here at the top, you can see the different views that we can view. We've got expenses, the list of payment requests sent, the list of payment requests received, and then we can log out as well. I'm going to add a new expense. We add the date, we add the amount. Here in this expense, you can see that it has been added. 1,000 Rand was spent on it. There are no payments requested, there are no payments received, and then the net expense is 1,000 Rand. If I click on the expense, I can request for another user to pay for it, or a portion of the amount. I will say 500 Rand. I will set the date 2 days from now. Here you can see that it's due 2 days from now. It has not been paid, and the amount is 500. If I come back to the expenses, you can see that on my expense, I have requested 500 Rand, but nothing has been paid yet. If I log out and log into our other user, you can see that there are no expenses for this user. But if I look at payment requests received, you can see that we do have due in 1 day, with an amount of 500 Rand. If I click pay, you can see that the amount total unpaid has changed, the amount paid changed, and if I go to expenses, it is now being listed as an expense for this user. And if I log out and go to the original user, you can see that the 500 Rand that was requested was received. Therefore, the net expense is 500, and what we need to pay is 500. If I look at our payment request sent, nobody owes us anything because the previous payment request was paid in full. Now I will demonstrate the code for us. As I said earlier, this is a single page application, so index.html is the entry point for our application. The different screens that I demoed earlier are inserted into this single HTML index file dynamically using the timely templating engine. For the templates, these are the different templates for our SPA project, and these correspond to the different screens that the user sees when navigating through the WeShare site. For instance, for example, when a user clicks on payment requests sent, this template will be displayed to the user without having redirected the user from the index HTML page. For styles, for our single page application, we kept all the styles for the project in a single CSS file that is imported at the top level inside the entry point index.html file. When a template is inserted, the CSS styles will be applied so the user will see the styles applied to the screen they are viewing for the best end user experience. Thank you. That was the demo, and I will pass it on to the next section.
Okay, thank you so much, Stevie, for that demo. I'm going to be walking us through section E, which is the web development tools. We're going to start off with the HTML editor. HTML editors are specialized text editing tools designed to facilitate the creation and editing of HTML and CSS code, the building blocks of websites. These editors offer features such as syntax highlighting, code completion, error checking, which helps developers write clean and error-free code efficiently. For our projects, we use Visual Studio Code as our HTML editor. with it, we found huge advantages and disadvantages while using it. The advantages of Visual Studio Code was versatility. So for Studio Code, it supports a wide range of programming languages, making it suitable for various types of development projects beyond just web development. Whether you're working on front-end web development, back-end development, or even machine learning, Visual Studio Code can accommodate your needs. The other advantage was an integrated terminal. VS Code includes an integrated terminal allowing developers to run commands and scripts directly with the editor. This give me a second, eliminates the need to switch between the editor and a separate terminal window, streamlining the development workflow. Debugging capabilities. VS Code offers robust debugging capabilities for various programming languages, including JavaScript, TypeScript, Python, and more. Developers can set breakpoints, inspecting variables, and step through their code with ease, making it easier to identify and fix issues in their applications. The disadvantages was the limited integrated development environment, the IDE features. While VS Code offers many features commonly found in integrated development environments, it may lack some advanced capabilities, presents in dedicated IDEs tailored to specific languages or platforms. Complex refactoring tools built in support for specialized frameworks or advanced project management features may be less robust or integrated in Visual Studio Code compared to dedicated IDEs. It also is quite resource intensive. So, depending on the size of the projects and the number of extensions installed, VS Code can consume a significant amount of system resources, including memory and CPU usage. It also has a steep learning curve for advanced features. While VS Code core functionality is relatively straightforward, mastering advanced features such as debugging configurations, task automation, and customizing settings may require time and effort, and it's not as easy for the beginners. We're now going to be moving on to other examples of HTML editors, which would be Sublime Text, known for its speed and flexibility, Atom, an open source editor with a customized interface. However, despite their advantages, HTML editors also come with disadvantages. One drawback is they may lack advanced features found in IDEs, such as integrated debugging and version control. Additionally, while HTML editors are excellent for writing code, they may not provide the same level of project management capabilities as IDEs. I do have examples on the screen which you can see, which would be a Microsoft Visual Studio, Sublime Text Editor, a Patana, a NetBeans, and Notepad, along with multiple others. I'm now going to be moving on to the front end development frameworks. So for React, we essentially use it quite a bit, and it was actually developed by Facebook, which enables the creation of reusable UI components for building dynamic and interactive web applications. However, a potential disadvantage of React.js is its steep learning curve for beginners due to its reliance on JSX syntax and component based architecture. Another one that we essentially can use is Angular, which is developed by Google, offering a comprehensive JavaScript framework with features like two-way data binding and dependency injection. While Angular provides a robust set of tools for building complex web applications, its complexity may pose challenges for developers new to the framework. I'm now going to move on to our back-end development frameworks. So a good example of this would be Express.js, which provides a lightweight and flexible platform for building web and mobile applications. However, as with any framework, developers may encounter limitations or compatibility issues when integrating Express.js with certain database or third-party libraries. With Django, a high-level Python web framework, it emphasizes rapid development and pragmatic design. While Django's batteries included approach streamlines the development process, it may also lead to bloating code bases if developers include unnecessary features or dependencies. Now, another example we can use is Ruby on Rails, which is known for its convention over configuration philosophy, offering productivity and developer friendly features. However, developers may face challenges with performance, optimization, and scalability when building large scale applications with Rails. I'm now going to move on to the next slide, which is now going to be talking about IDEs. Now, when we talk about IDEs, we're going to dive into this. We always think about Adobe Dreamweaver and JetBrains WebStorms, offering a comprehensive tool for web developments such as code completion, syntax highlighting, integrated debugging, version control, integration, and project management capabilities. As said previously, they may require more system resources and have a steep learning curve. In contrast, lightweight text editors often have a simpler interface and fewer built in features, making them more accessible to users who prefer a simple development environment or have less experience with programming tools. There's some examples on the screen, and now I'm going to move on to the next section. The next section is covering content management systems. So, when it comes to content management systems like platforms like WordPress, Joomla, and Drupal, it simplifies website creation and management by offering user friendly interfaces, customizable templates, and a wide range of plugins and extensions. They may also suffer from security vulnerabilities if not properly maintained or updated. Some of the common security vulnerabilities in CMS platforms include outdated software, weak passwords, insecure plugins or and extensions, inadequate user permissions, and SQL injection and cross-site scripting, which is XSS. To mitigate these security risks, website owners and admins should regularly update their CMS software, themes, and plugin extensions to the latest versions. I'm now going to move on to graphic editors. So when we think about graphic editors, we always think about like a Figma, Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator, and Sketch as the primal, an essential tool we use for designing website graphics. It includes logos, icons, images, and other visual elements. These tools offer a wide range of features and functionality for creating and manipulating graphics, such as drawing tools, layers, filters, effects, and typography controls. However, to use graphic editors effectively, individuals typically need specialized skills and experience in graphic design principles, such as color theory, typography, composition, and visual hierarchy. Additionally, familiarity with the specific features and workflows of each graphic editor is necessary to maximize productivity and achieve the desired outcomes. I'm now going to move on to version control systems. So the first one that comes to mind would be Git. So while Git offers powerful branching capabilities and flexibility, however, its decentralized nature and unique workflow concepts such as branching, merging, and distributed version control can present a large learning curve for users who are unfamiliar with these concepts. Git's decentralized model allows developers to work independently on their local repositories and synchronize changes with a central repository or other remote repositories. While this approach offers numerous advantages, such as offline work and effective collaboration, it may require users to understand new concepts and workflows compared to the traditional centralized version control systems. On the next slide, I'm going to be showing you some examples of that. So, good examples would be Subversion, Mercurial, Performance, Microsoft Team Foundation Version Control, and IBM Rational ClearCase. I'm now going to move on to web analytics tools. So, when we think about web analytics, we always think about Google Analytics and Adobe Analytics. And we often think of how it provides valuable insight into web performances, helping businesses understand users' behavior, traffic patterns, and the effectiveness of marketing campaigns. However, this extensive data collection and tracking capabilities of these tools can raise privacy concerns amongst users and clients. Data privacy has become a significant issue in the digital age. With increased awareness and regulations surrounding the collection, storage, and use of personal data, users may be apprehensive about the extent of data being collected about them. However, it's being used and where their privacy rights are being respected. There are other web analytics tools on the market which businesses and web developers can use, such as Matomo, Mixpacks panel, heap analytics and segments, and much more. I'm now going to move on to our file formats. So understanding various file formats such as HTML, CSS, JavaScript, JSON, PNG, JPEG, SVG, MP4, and PDF, each format serves a specific purpose in web development, from defining the structure and styling of web pages, HTML and CSS, for example, to adding interactive and dynamic behavior, such as JavaScript, and handling data extensions, which would be JSON. Additionally, image formats like PNG, JPEG, and SVG are commonly used for graphics and multimedia segments elements. While video formats like MP4 are used for embedding videos on websites, PDFs are often used for documents that need to be displayed and printed consistently across different platforms and devices. However, developers must also be mindful of the size and compatibility issues when working with these formats. Large file sizes can impact website performance, leading to a longer loading time and bandwidth usage. Developers should optimize file sizes wherever possible using techniques such as compression, minification, and lazy loading to reduce the size of the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, compromising its quality. I'm now going to be talking about what we actually use for our projects, which was actually JSON, and which was our file formatter, and we were able to take screenshots to verify whether or not our projects work successfully, which was actually embedded within the program itself. I'm now going to moving on to the web browser plugins. So with web browser plugins, enhancing functionality, security, and customization by adding features or modifying existing ones to meet users' needs and preference. Web browser plugins extends the capability of web browsers by providing additional features or tools not included in the browser's default functionality. These plugins can improve productivity, streamline workflows, and enhance the overall browsing experience for users. However, if not properly maintained, plugins may also introduce compatibility issues or security vulnerabilities that could compromise the user's browser experience and potentially expose them to risks. And a good example of all of these would be ad blocker plugins such as AdBlock Plus, password management plugins like LastPass, OnePassword, and Dashline. Another example would be our download plugins like Download Them All and Free Download Manager. Developer tool plugins such as Web Developer, Firebug, and Weblizer. And then we have our productivity plugins, which would be like Evernote, Web Clipper, Pocket, and To-Do List to help users stay organized. Then we also have our language translator plugins, and the first one that comes to mind would be like Google Translate and Microsoft Translator. For customization, we've got plugins like Stylish and Dark Reader, enabling users to customize their appearance and behavior to their web browsers. Say, for example, we don't like our browsers being in the light version, we can make it a darker version, which will help us essentially have better reading abilities or any other personal preferences as well. I'm now going to move on to our next slide, which is our conclusion. So, in conclusion, with these tools and technologies offering significant benefits for web development, developers must weigh their advantages against potential drawbacks to make informed decisions about which tools to use for their projects. Thank you so much. That's going to be the rest of it for our team, and I hope you have an amazing day or evening whenever you're watching this. Thank you again.